Rameshwar, well, Rameshwar, at one time in 1980, I think June 1980, he wrote a letter to the GBC, a public letter, and he said, I resign from being a guru. I'm not qualified to be a guru. None of us are qualified. We shouldn't be accepting all this worship. And it was a very nice letter. And right away, Sridhar Maharaj and Bhagavan and all these people, they said, we can't have this, So they convinced Rameshwar to go back to being a guru, But then shortly after that, there was, a problem where he was dating a disciple, and he was just like out of it more and more. But his biggest problem was some of his disciples were selling drugs. They had this thing called the PDI, the Prasadam Distribution International Business, which was his people. I don't know if they were directly his disciples or they were Prabhupada disciples, but anyway, there was a criminal enterprise going on, which he was part of. Apparently he must have known about it because the Laguna Beach Temple president was involved with it. They were selling heroin, and so this got busted by the FBI. The FBI raided the Laguna Beach Temple and arrested a bunch of people, and arrested the temple president there. And so, Rameshwar just barely scraped through that because, the big question was, did Rameshwar know that this business was going on in his own zone, in his own temple? And this was in all the newspapers. This story was in all the newspapers. Well, what happened after Sulochan was murdered, I think he was worried that he could have been implicated in the murder because his people were part of the group that went after Sulochan. There was 4 guys. 2 of them were Rameshwar's disciples, and 2 of them were Kirtananda disciples. And this all went to court. But the problem was that the FBI gave immunity to Rameshwar's people if they would testify against Kirtananda's people. So that was a big mistake, because what happened in the court, the judge said, were you one of the shooters? They asked Rameshwar's people, were you one of the shooters who shot Sulochan? And the answer they gave was, hey, you'll never know because you gave us immunity already. So that was a mistake. But anyway, Rameshwar was very worried. So he just, one day he had a Ford Taurus station wagon and he piled it up with aluminum suitcases full of stuff, and he had a cowboy hat on, and he just hopped in his Taurus and he went to New York, and he just drove away and left. He went to New York and he supposedly married a lawyer, a Jewish lawyer, supposedly. Well, he disappeared. So he basically lost a lot of money. The family lent him a bunch of money, and what I'm told is that he lost a lot of that money. The wife he married, he never told her that he was a Hare Krishna, and people kept calling up the house saying, I need to talk to Guru Maharaj, and she says, what is all this? And you know what I mean? So she left him, the family got fried with him, and so he kind of came back to ISKCON with his tail between his legs a little bit, And he's hanging around LA, but he's another guy that has no credibility. He just doesn't have credibility.